Hi, welcome to Quick Core. In today's workout, we'll be working the muscles of the lower back, the abs, and the hips. By strengthening these muscles, you prevent and reduce injury to help you do all of the activities you need to do every day. All you need is a mat or a towel. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. Okay, so let's start in a hand-knee position and start with cat-cow to warm up through the low back. So make sure you have enough cushion for your knees. I have a nice cushiony mat, but if you're on carpet, you could always put down a towel. So take those knees about hip width apart, lift up out of the shoulders, and then round the back. So if it feels good, you can arch that low back. Otherwise, you can go to neutral. Tuck that pelvis under, pulling the navel in toward the spine, keeping the neck neutral. So if you're doing this first thing in the morning, you can kind of ease into this and see how you feel. This is a dynamic stretch for the low back and the hips. This is a good thing to do when you wake up in the morning. If you're feeling a little stiff, you could even do a standing version or put your hands on a chair and do this. It should feel good. Okay, so take your knees a little further apart, and then you're going to be doing a reach through and then switching sides. Are you ready? Okay, go through. So you can lay that shoulder down if that feels good to you, or just turn your body. So you want to have those knees a little further apart so you have a wider base of support. We're going to be doing rotational movements. So this does help with that to warm up. Just reach as far as feels good for you. All this is a warm up. Good, about 10 more seconds. Okay, so set up hands and knees again. We're going to start with our right hand and our left leg. You can always do just the arm or the leg. So you're going to reach out and then bring it back in. Same side. Out and in. So not only are you reaching out, you're lifting up. Think extension. Keeping the neck neutral. Keep the abdominals pulled in. Switch sides. So you don't want to put a lot of weight into that shoulder. Lift up out of that shoulder. So see how we're going straight out from the head and the hip in a straight line? We're going to be changing that. We're going to go to the other side, and then we're going to reach laterally away from the center line. Okay, so you're going to reach out, and you may feel a little wobbly on this one. It is a little less stable, so you can always go back to that first version if this is too much for you. Take your time. Keep it nice and slow and controlled. We'll change sides in about 10 seconds. Now, obviously, you're going to have greater range of motion with the shoulder than you will with the hips. Switch sides. Reach. And don't be surprised if you have one side that you're better at than the other. Just something to work on. Again, keeping the neck neutral so you don't want to be looking up. Just look slightly in front of you and down. There's no rush. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to come into a plank. So we're going to come down on the elbows, walk those feet back. Now, modified plank, you tuck the pelvis, you lift up out of the shoulders. Full plank, you're on the toes. So again, tuck the pelvis, navel into the spine, you're holding. And if you need to put a knee down occasionally to take a rest, do that. Keep those abs tight. A lot of times I see this in classes, so that's why you really want to tuck that pelvis and pull the navel in. You'll feel your abdominals a lot more that way. So press through the heels so you feel a calf stretch. Use those quadriceps. Almost there. How are you? And drop it. All right. So now we're going to flip over onto your back. Hands behind the head. And we're going to do a crossover crunch. So you're going to go one way, stay on that side. Cross and back. So think about taking the shoulder across your midline and not just your elbow. So you're really trying to get that whole side of the body across the midline of your body without moving your hips. So the hips are going to want to roll with you. Try to keep those hips down, stable. We're working right here, working the internal, external obliques. Still bracing that core. You're going to switch sides and switch across. Keep that hip down. Try to get that shoulder across. Take your time. You got plenty of time. You're not leading with the elbow. Chin is off your chest. Find a spot on the ceiling and you look at that the whole time. This is a basic movement. So whenever you're working your core muscles, you want to think about different movements, bracing movements, rotational movements, crunching type movements. The core muscles do a lot of things, not just move, but resist movement. And time. Okay, rest for a second. Now, take those hands down by your hips. Bring the knees up. And you're going to do a little pelvic tilt. So you're going to pull the navel in. See how the hips naturally come up, and then you just release it. So a lot of times people will swing their feet, but really it's about pulling in and releasing. It's not a huge movement. And down. Pulling in, bracing your core, and releasing. So your back goes flat, but it's not necessarily about pushing your back down. It's about that pelvic tilt, pulling the abs in, bringing the hip bones toward the bottom rib, closing that space. Now remember, you can't isolate the upper and lower abdominals. You may feel it more there, but the entire muscle contracts. So you can't just work your lower abs and your upper abs. It's like trying to work the upper part of your biceps and the lower part of your biceps. Okay, keeping those knees bent. The straighter your legs, the more challenging this is. So if you have, especially if you have a tight low back, keep your knees more bent and go one side, stay on this side, keep going the same way. The closer that bottom knee gets to the floor, the more challenging it's going to be. Keep those shoulder blades on the floor. So if you get those legs straighter, more challenging, deeper, also more challenging. So we're pulling up with the side we're going away from. We're using this side, squeeze in, exhale. You feeling anything yet? You're doing great. You're breathing. We're about to switch sides. Fix your hair. And we're going to go the other way. You ready? Okay. Go. Up. Pull in. Remember, straighter leg, deeper range of motion, totally up to you. You want it to be challenging, but your form is always the most important thing. And you may be able to go deeper on one side than the other. Sometimes you'll get a little crackle. It's like popcorn, Rice Krispies. I don't know about you, but I don't like the thought of my spine being like Rice Krispies. Okay, almost there. All right, put those feet down. Okay, so we've got a crunching movement. Put that knot of my shirt right underneath my spine. Okay, so one hand behind the neck or the back of the head. The other hand, you're going to slide it up. Chin off your chest, touch the top of the knee, take it down. This is a basic crunch. Now, because you have this hand in front of you, it's going to be easier than if both hands are behind you. But this is a good way to know the height that you need to go. Now, it's not just about the reach. It's about pulling in, bracing tight, and down. When you really pull in, you also get that transverse abdominis or TVA. That's that underlying muscle. So you don't just get the six-pack muscle, right? Slide up and down. Chin off your chest. That's why it helps to find a spot on the ceiling and just look at that. I'm looking at you because I'm talking to you. And you can pause. You don't want to zip through this movement. Okay, let's switch hands. So you're just supporting the neck, top of the knee, top of the knee, or as close as you can get it. Remember, don't pull on the head. Chin off your chest. Remember, look up at the ceiling. Squeeze in tight. You should definitely feel the abs. Almost there. Pause at the top of each movement. Really squeeze. Every movement is intentional. How are you feeling? I hope you're feeling good. Okay, we're going to come on to one side. It doesn't matter which. We're going to be on the elbow. You're going to lift up out of the shoulder, and you're going to come up into a side plank. So lift the hips. You can extend that leg. You can extend both legs, and you could stack your feet if you want to. If this is too much on the shoulder, you can put the hand down. Otherwise, we're just going to put that knee down, and you're going to lift up. So you're working that bottom oblique. Remember, put that hand down, and if you need a little support for that shoulder, it helps if you really lift up so that core is lifting your body as opposed to just the shoulder. I like doing stuff like this barefoot because then I can grip. I try to work out barefoot whenever I can. All right, bring it down. All we have left is the other side. You're doing great. We're almost done. Remember, pick a position that's challenging for you with the knee down, the feet extended, feet staggered, lift up. So whether you're doing this at the end of another workout or you're starting your day with this, just remember to say nice things to yourself. I know that sounds corny, but sometimes we catch ourselves, I do, catch myself looking in the mirror and going, oh, you look like death today. I say that often, especially first thing in the morning, but be kind to yourself. You know, the more you hear those thoughts over and over again, the more you listen to them. Take it down. Excellent. Okay, one leg in front of the other, very quick stretch, release the hips. You did so great. Every time you have a negative thought about yourself, just counteract it, just something positive. There's got to be something you like about yourself, right? Don't just look for the negative. Look for the positive. You have things to offer. You have value. Switch sides. Remember, it's not just about what we look like, what size clothes we wear. We have value outside of that. We're going to change. We're going to age. I know I am. I have a birthday coming up. Yippee! But I'm never sad about birthdays. I'm always like, I made it another year. Bring it up. You did great. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. And I'll see you next time. Bye.